Have you ever wondered why firefighters have big mustaches? Well, years ago, they grew big mustaches to use as filters to be able to breathe in smoky areas. They'd take their mustaches and shove them into their mouth, and they would use that as a filter to filter out any of the smoke or nasty toxic fumes that come along with fire. Thankfully, today we have SCBAs to wear. My name is PJ Bradford. I've been a firefighter for over 20 years. When I first started in the fire service, SCBA tanks were made of heavy steel, and the device that actually holds it all together was really basic, especially compared to today's SCBAs. So, what does SCBA stand for? It stands for Self-Contained Breathing Apparatus. OSHA actually defines it as an atmosphere supplying respirator for which the breathing air source is designed to be carried by the user, i.e., firefighter. Firefighting historian Merritt Long also tells us that the earliest record of an attempt at a respirator type design dates all the way back to 1825. So the idea has been around for a long time. It was a mask made of asbestos and iron. I can't even imagine wearing that. A few other models were made during the 1800s, and some consisted of things like leather bags that they would put air in. Some even used water and sponges inside bags to help filter out some of the air that was breathed in by the firefighter. In the article, The History of Firefighting Personal Protective Equipment, Paul Hasenmeyer credits James Braidwood with inventing the first SCBA that's as close to what we have today in 1863. It was made of two rubber-lined canvas bags that were worn on the user's back, and it was filled with fresh air. It had two hoses that would come around, and the firefighter would hold them in their mouth to be able to breathe. Different sized bags allowed for different amount of time for the firefighter to actually be inside and breathe from it. You know, even though there's a lot of professions that use some sort of SCBA or respirator type devices, structural firefighters are the ones that are normally associated with SCBAs. We train on them. We have to have them. They're our lifeline. They allow us to be able to breathe in smoke-filled areas without any danger of breathing in the toxic smoke or the heat. They actually protect us from that. Hazardous material technicians, they also wear them too, which is very close to firefighters. They wear them anytime they're in an IDLH atmosphere, which stands for immediate danger to life and health. That allows them to breathe in fresh air and not the toxic chemicals that may be floating around them. Some people will call it our oxygen tank, but it's not an oxygen tank. It's actually filled with just compressed breathing air, not oxygen. It's the same air that we breathe every day, which is actually only 21% oxygen. It's 78% nitrogen, and there's 1% left that's a whole list of different kind of gases. At the Gallatin Fire Department, we use an MSA G1 SCBA. There's a lot of different parts that make it up, and I'm going to kind of tell you about a few of them right now. The first thing you notice is the compressed air tank I was just talking about. We use a couple of different sizes. There's the 4,500 PSI bottle that's a 45-minute bottle, and that's on most of our fire engines. We also have a 60-minute bottle. It's also 4,500 PSI. It's just a little bit bigger and it holds more air. They're both made of carbon fiber, which makes them a little bit lighter, but I tell you, it's still pretty heavy. At the bottom of the bottle, you'll notice that it has a valve, the cylinder valve and a gauge. This is how you turn it on. And this right here is an analog gauge that tells you how much air is inside this bottle. Next, you have the face piece. This is probably one of the most important parts because it actually covers our face and protects us, and this is where the air comes in and allows us to breathe it. It has one-way valves to where we breathe fresh air in, blow carbon dioxide out. Next, we have the actual air frame is what it's called. It's basically the harness backpack that holds the bottle. All the regulators and hoses are mounted to it as well. Wear it on your back just like you're going to school. This right here is the first stage regulator. The air in the tank is at high pressure, so you can't breathe it. This actually lowers it from 4,500 psi down to approximately 80 to 100 psi. Next is the second stage regulator. This is the piece that we actually hook to the mask. It actually lowers it again to just above atmospheric pressure. This is so the user will actually be able to breathe in the air when they need to. The second stage regulator also has a emergency bypass valve on the side to where if anything goes wrong, you can turn that on and it bypasses everything and will give you a constant flow of oxygen or air. Next is the ICM, the Integrated Computer Module. This has an analog and a digital gauge that shows you how much available air you have. It also houses the PASS device, which is the Personal Alert Safety System. This is the alarm that you might hear if a firefighter's in trouble or if he goes down. They can manually activate this, or it'll go off if they don't move after a certain amount of time. And we can actually listen to that sound and know where they're at by following it. The invention of the SCBA has made firefighting a lot safer. And it's made it better for even the people that are needing to be rescued because we're safer and able to do our job better. However, it is still a dangerous job and it requires regular training on lots of things, especially the SCBA. Like I said earlier, it's our lifeline. But I do know that the firefighters of the old days, they had it tough. And I, for one, am very thankful that the SCBAs we have now are around and that they're as advanced and as safe as they are. Thank you.